In this module, we will talk about how to use conditional statements such as if and operators such as and or. Let's first talk about using if statement. This is used to test a logical condition, and if the result of the logical condition is true, then one course of action is taken, which usually is a value that we return. If it is false, then another course of action is taken. This statement takes three parameters. The first one is the logical condition. The second one is the value to be returned if the condition is true. The third one is the value to be returned if the condition is false. Let us now see how can we use if statement in Excel. Using if statement is very straightforward. Let's say in our data set, we want to create a variable which talks about if someone is a senior citizen or not. Now this data set is about the credit card usage. Each row here represents one unique customer and also talks about their demographics and their financial behavior. Now, if I want to create a variable which talks about if someone is a senior citizen or not, I can use an if statement. So let's get ahead and create a variable which talks about if someone is a senior citizen. So I can go ahead here and say is senior citizen, and we can now try to define our logic here using if statement. So the first thing I'll do is I will type in if, and the first argument that I will need to fill in here is going to be the logical test. Now, this logical test depends on the values in our age column. So I'll select a cell here, and let's say I am defining a senior citizen as someone whose age is 60 or more. So this is the logical check I'm doing. If someone's age is 60 or more, if that is true, then I'm going to return 1, else I'm going to return 0. So you can see I get a value of 0 here, which makes sense because this person is 45 years old and is less than 60 years and hence is not a senior citizen. Now I can drag this formula and I can see I get some ones here. Let's check what is the value of age here. The value of age is 74. It seems like my formula is working fine and I'm getting ones where I'm supposed to and zeros where I'm supposed to. Now, once we know how to use the if statement, we can include the use of and or statements and test for more involved logical conditions. Both these functions take two or more parameters, all being logical conditions. The only difference is that the AND function returns a true value if all the logical conditions are true, while the OR function returns a true value if either of the logical conditions are true. Let us now discuss how can we use AND as well as OR operators or functions within Excel. And let's see what kind of output they produce. Now, to take an example, let's assume that from our data set, we want to create a new variable which talks about if someone is a senior citizen as well as is rich or affluent. Now, we have this column on monthly income. And from this column, we can conclude who is affluent or rich or not. One way to do that is to make an assumption for the sake of an example over here that someone who makes more than $20,000 a month is affluent and someone who doesn't make $20,000 a month is not affluent. Now, we can create a variable called senior and affluent, and we can use AND condition to figure out if someone is senior as well as affluent. Now let's see how will we use the AND condition. So I will simply type in AND, and as you know, all I need to do is put in logical conditions here. In our case, the variable that we want to create, there will be only two logical conditions involved. One will be dependent on the column age because that determines who is a senior citizen. So I can just put a logical condition that if someone is greater than or equal to 60 years of age, that's the first logical condition. The second logical condition will depend on the monthly income. So here I will write if this income is greater than or equal to 20,000 US dollars, and Let's see what happens. So this returns false because this person is 45 years of age and doesn't make 20,000 US dollars. So he's definitely not senior and rich. Let's see what happens for this guy. And in order to evaluate all of these, what I can do is I can just drag this formula down. And you can see this person is, although a senior citizen, but is not affluent. Uh, and if we scroll down, we might find some instances of this being true in our data set. Let's try changing the definition of affluence so that we can see some results here. Let's say we redefine affluence as someone making more than $10,000, and let's drag this formula down. You can see this is coming out to be true, and if we go here, we can see that this guy is 64 and makes 11,000 US dollars a month. So both the conditions are true, hence we are returning true. We can modify this a little bit by using this within an if condition. So we can say if our AND condition returns true, then we are going to return 1, else we are going to return 0. And I can drag all of this down, and you can see things are changing here. I can make the same change in the top of the cell here and put a 1 here, put a 0 here, and I can just drag this formula down, and you can now see I'm getting 0, 1, 0, 1 values. I can in fact get any values if I just change the return conditions here. If I was just using AND, I would only get either a true value or a false value. But if you combine AND with if, you can get a more diverse output. Let's also see how can we use the OR statement. Let's assume we want to find out if someone is senior or affluent. I just need to use the OR condition. So I will just simply say OR, and I need to provide my first condition, which is based on age. Age is greater than or equal to 60. My second condition is based on monthly income, which is greater than or equal to 10,000. And I can drag this formula down. So you can see I'm getting a true value here. So this person has one of the two conditions true, or maybe both the conditions true. Let's see what is happening with this person. So this is a person who is not a senior citizen, but is definitely making more than 10,000 US dollars per month. And hence we can see we get a value of true here. We can again use the if statement and change the whole output. So I can say if OR returns true, then give me 1, else give me 0. And I can drag it all the way down. So you can see in this way you can use both and OR functions, and you also know how to combine the and OR functions with the if statement.